Okay, so what were your thoughts on the the last Republican debate, sans Trump?
Sans Trump, I think that's the perfect way to start it off because I think he was like a little baby for not showing up. I mean, Megyn Kelly, I agree, is kind of an idiot. In fact, the biggest loser after Donald Trump should be Fox Business because it was a horrible, horrible debate. And the way I couch that is to say, Dan Primack from Fortune magazine put in his column how disappointed he was. The word jobs only came up 3 times in the entire debate. This is a business channel. Are you kidding me?
Well, you know what came up a lot? Bombing ISIS.
Yeah.
And nobody asked these people, how are you going to pay for it? They're complaining about how small the military is and how are you going to pay for it?
Well, the only one who brought that up was Rand Paul.
Right. I mean, what world are we living in when Rand Paul is the sanest person on the stage? By far.
He actually looked pretty good up
Right.
there.
And
Yes, he has the advantage of going against Cruz because he works with Cruz in the Senate.
well, if you look at all the polls, online polls, Rand Paul won the debate. And the thing about Rand Paul is at least he has consistent principles that he always stands with. So he has a place he can always go to and be consistent. Well, those other guys are flopping all over the place. They're just pandering for votes. So they have no morals. They have no center, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
and
There's no
Rand
compass. There's no
there's no
compass.
compass. And Rand Paul has that, so
Yeah.
he can speak consistently, even if half of it is crazy, half of it's not as crazy. Whereas
Well,
everyone else are just always crazy.
and this is an interesting thing. Um, Cindy actually brought this up. She was like, "Look, thinking about Trump, he has some good ideas, but is he a guy you want running the country and having his finger on the button? Are you kidding me? I think it's dangerous, and I'm really interested to see what happens on Monday because I suspect he's not going to do as well as he thought, and I think the people from Iowa ought to be really disappointed that he decided, that Megyn Kelly's wrath was too much for
Well,
him.
can I just say something about Megyn Kelly? Her false eyelashes were so huge, I was getting blown back every time she blinked her eye. It was causing so much wind. I was just like, whoa. I mean, those false eyelashes were probably about 3 feet long. Literally, they were huge. They were
Yeah,
massive false eyelashes.
you know, and she was all about let's now that Donald Trump's not here, let's create a Trump type thing. I'll be Donald Trump and I'll insult you people. That's what she was doing. She wasn't, and again, this is a business network.
And
Absolutely.
I don't think it's going to change anything in Iowa because nobody said anything new at this. No, there's nothing like.
I think though the two things that came out for me, one, Chris Christie's jokes are getting better. His joke about the Clintons and free housing, I like that. The other thing was, and Carly Fiorino in the earlier one just totally lit into Hillary and said, I don't know whether you heard the comment when she said, instead of going to the White House, she should be going to the big house.
Yeah, well, Carly Fiorina, it turns out, was on the board of a corporation that used baby parts to make their product.
uh, well,
And her smile coach is not doing a good job.
no,
She's not
no,
using Marco Rubio's smile coach because
no.
it looks about as rehearsed and fake.
I would say this though too. Not I thought Rand Paul did a good job. However, the real debate was between Rubio and Cruz, and that's where the gloves really came off. And I think the other big loser besides Donald Trump in this debate was Ted Cruz. We'll see, but I think people kind of caught him flipping on things and being mean about things, and it's the diabolical one, as we said, and they even talked about how he's carefully putting these pieces together so that he can get
Well,
enough.
he might be the evilest man on earth. He might be. He might be the evilest man on earth.
We don't know because we don't really know where these are really all about.
But really, they all lost. Really. Because, I mean, Rubio said nothing new. All he did was talk about ISIS, 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 and it seemed like his handler said, Marco, you got to get more angry. You got to get more pissed at ISIS. And it's just, he didn't say anything except, let's throw people in Guantanamo Bay, let's build up our military. But no, how are you going to pay for it? How are you going to pay for it, Marco? How are you going to pay for all these ships and planes?
That to me was partly the problem, though, with the moderators, is that they didn't say, okay, Marco, how are you going to pay for that? And they should have said that. That should have been their fault.
You know, here's the bottom line of all debate moderators. The only candidate that is ever asked, how are you going to pay for this, is Bernie Sanders. He's the only one that gets called out. Everyone else gets a pass on everything. It's completely rigged, and it's ridiculous. But I don't think anybody watched this last debate and is really going to care one way or another about anything.
We'll see.
My thought.
We'll see on Monday. Because I think Kasich kind of appeals to these Midwesterners. You know, he's a Midwesterner, they're Midwesterners. What I want to know is why on earth would the United States of America make Iowa the linchpin for getting nominated in any party? It's crazy.
I don't know, but Iowa is what created that monster Michelle Bachmann, because she won that straw poll, and all of a sudden...
Yeah, which tells you a lot about that. And Rick Santorum did really well, too. And now he kind of gave his farewells. That was almost a farewell speech. But, yeah, I think that this is just my view, that Cruz lost a little and Rubio gained a little. That's my feeling. We'll see when the polls come out. But I think Ted Cruz made a calculated error of dissing every other person on the stage, and you saw at the end of the debate they dissed him by just walking away from him, and you know he was trying to talk to Jeb and then Christie, and Christie just turned away, and so yeah, I think horrible moderators. You know, I totally agree. I don't know how many blinking exercises Megyn Kelly has to do before she, you know, straps those babies on. But
well, bottom line, in my opinion, is it changes nothing. You know, Trump showing up or not showing up ultimately changes nothing. And nobody had any sort of breakout or complete meltdown. What was with exclamation point skin? He looked a little more tan. Do you think that was real or fake?
I don't know. Maybe he decided to go back to Florida and get some sun. That could have been it.
And we're not even talking about Ben Carson, who was crazy and asleep.
You said last time he was stoned.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, this time he might have just been asleep. I mean, one-horse country? Putin is a one-horse country? I mean...
You know, I honestly think Ben Carson's not really even into it. I think he's just kind of daydreaming up there when they call on him. He's like, "Oh, you called on me? Oh,
right." He's just like, "Yeah, people are giving me money that I'm giving to my campaign managers." But anyway, bottom line is
his finance manager was only getting $80,000 a month.
Only. Well, bottom line is, who cares? Everything sucked about it on every level.
You and I disagree. I think we're going to see a change in the numbers. I just have that feeling. And remember, Iowa is famous for this. They're famous for flipping in the last week.
We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens from the if the debate made any difference.